everybody. Welcome back to another episode of The Male Perspective. I am your host, Lana Reid, and today on this day, I have the pleasure of sitting down with a gentleman by the name of Elijah Lewis. He is the author of the book, Your Jewels Are in Your Journey. And I am so looking forward to hearing more about the book, its inspiration, and peek into some portions of his life. But first and foremost, as I always do, sir, I take a quick moment to pause, say thank you to you for making time for me today. Time is a gift. Once we give it, we cannot get it back. So I truly appreciate you setting aside this time of your day to sit down and chat with me. And with that, sir, welcome. Welcome to the
Oh,
show.
thank you so much, and I appreciate the opportunity. So it's truly a blessing. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, let me get started here because I've written a couple of books. I know it's not an easy task. So my first curious question is writing something that you've always done, or is this a new direction in life for you?
It actually is a new direction in life for me. It's funny. I never had any anticipation of being a writer. I just didn't think that that was something I could do. I mean, the only writing I did was for papers and essays and things like that for school. So it's funny. I went to a Black Empowerment Expo last year in October, and this is where I met Matthew at that event. And I bought two of his books because people don't know he's an author and motivational speaker himself. And while I was at the table, there was a sister at that table who said, "Hey, come back," because I went because Dr. Umar Johnson was the guest speaker.
Oh,
So she
okay.
said, after Dr. Umar speaks, "Hey, come back and Matthew will sign your books for you." So I said, "Okay, that's cool." So after Dr. Umar speaks, I'm looking at Matthew's table and I'm getting ready to leave. I'm thinking to myself, do I really want to get him to go sign my book? My intuition is telling me, you know what, go over there, get him to sign your book, and you'll just be able to leave and go on home from there. So I said, okay, you know what, I bought his book, let me get him to sign it. And in the middle of him signing it, he says, hey, and these are his exact words, by the way. He says, "Hey, brother, you like you got something on your mind. Have you ever thought about writing a book?" And I'm just thinking to myself, like, not really. I kind of was just hoping you were just going to sign the books and just, I'll be out of here. But no, we got to talking, and I really appreciated the conversation, and we connected. And I just thought about, uh, you know, my life in general and what experience that I've been through, and what I would like to share. And I kept thinking about that while I was at work. And I called him that Wednesday. I said, "Hey, I want to do this," and we met that Friday, and we signed I signed my contract, and the rest they say is history. But to answer your question, writing was never something I just thought I could do. I just felt like that was something that people had a certain gift for, and I just didn't think that that was something I could do. And honestly, I always thought writing was a huge process, which it is, but I just felt like you had to be in that mindset to accomplishment. So to answer your question, I feel like I kind of uh, fell into writing. I'm not going to say by accident, but it was the right place and the right time.
Awesome. Isn't that something? So oftentimes people see things in us that we don't even see in ourselves. And for a perfect stranger to kind of hone in on that and say, you know what, you got something in you, brother. So, that's all it takes to get that spark going. That's great. Well, you mentioned a couple of things that while you were explaining that to me that I want to go into a little bit because I was roaming around your website and being nosy as I was preparing for today's show. And I read a sentence where you mentioned that you were in high school, you had a 2.5 GPA, and you evolved into an engineer, and life shifted for you major in a major way. And it kind of leads into a lot of what I'm assuming your book is about. So I want to kind of pick apart in the as we get going here. Can you share your journey and where things turned around for you and how things turned around for you?
Oh well, definitely, as you said, yeah, I have no shame in admitting, like you said, Lena, I had a 2.58 GPA, and growing up, school I never thought was a challenge for me per se. I mean, I remember having being a predominantly straight A student in middle school, and my mom is an educator, and I have a long line of educators on her
Awesome.
side of the family. So I always felt like school was something I could grasp pretty easily. But by the time I got to high school, there were a lot of challenges going on personally for me,
Okay. Okay.
and I felt like that kind of distracted me from what I was meant to do in school.
Okay.
And when that happened, I really, and I talk about this in my book, I really lost a lot of confidence in myself and kind of experienced a little bit of depression too, because
Okay.
I just wasn't used to failing, in school like
Mm-hmm.
that. And when something happens to you that you're not used to experiencing, it
Mm-hmm.
really changes you. And a lot of times you just don't know how to react to that. But I think what was the shift for me was definitely both my parents played a role in helping me get myself back on track. But I really felt like it was my father, especially. He really lit the fire back under me to get myself back on track. And that included doing various programs while I was in high school, even programs while I was outside of high school. For example, I was a part of the Urban Youth Racing School, which is a racing program and engineering program in Philadelphia. And, he was definitely getting me involved in activities, whether it was that. My mother got me in an engineering tutoring program called AMY, which is Advanced Minorities Interested in Engineering at Morgan
Okay.
State University. So both of them did play an equal role in helping me get back on track.
Gotcha.
And once that happened, I really felt like my confidence was coming back because I had them, but also the people of those programs that I was in helped me get my confidence back. And that's kind of where I fast forward to now with my book, because what my book is about is I want to give my readers the roadmap of how they can be their best self, despite the fact that we know challenges are going to come our way. We don't go through life without any challenges, but at the end of the day, it's all about how do we have the right perspective to go through those challenges to be our best self. And like I tell people, I know what it's like to be lost on your journey and not knowing where to turn or what's going to happen next and losing hope. But
Mm,
I feel like now that I'm in a place where hope has been restored for me, I want to
awesome.
give that same opportunity back to my readers, because one of my favorite quotes is from Booker T. Washington, where he said, "If you want to lift yourself up, lift up someone else." So
True.
I think going through my trials and tribulations taught me a lot, and I hope that I can inspire other people when they read my book that despite the challenges that you go through, you are still meant to be your optimal self, and you can get there if you just pay attention to the jewels or the life lessons along your journey. You can definitely get there 100%.
Awesome. So many things you said in there, the need for mentorship, uh, the concept of all is not lost. Is you can always turn the car around and go a different direction. And sometimes we get stuck in these pits of wallowing and self-pity, but it's just so important to have some people, on your side say, hey, come on, we can get a plan here and turn this around. So, that's awesome. Now, engineering, I keep on hearing engineering, and I read that on a website. Engineering is what you do. And my experience with engineers, they're very everything's a system, everything's order, everything has a pattern. Did that help you when it came to writing the book?
I think to a degree, Matthew did a great job when we met. He definitely laid out an outline that was very easy for me to follow. A lot of people have asked me, what was the hardest part about writing your book? And really, because of his guidance, I didn't have too many writer's block. I think the main challenge was sometimes kind of going back to the experiences that I went through. That was kind of more of a harder part because you have to put yourself back in that
You gotta relive it.
almost that pain of, if you will, of what
Yeah.
happened to you. But in a way, it was very therapeutic for me at the same time. But what I like about writing is I don't. I think I see engineering like shit more as like the system, more as the logical side. But I feel like with writing, you have a system, but I feel like you have more openness for creativity, where
Okay.
it's not like this rigid structure where you have to do this, like this, that, and the third. You're more in control about what you want to do, and because it's art. Art is subjective. It's not like engineering where it has to be objective. So even though there is somewhat of a system to writing, I think at the same time, I feel like you shouldn't put yourself, and this is actually in my book, you shouldn't put yourself in a box where you can't express yourself how you want to express yourself. As the writer, you should have that the ability to be creative. And what I like about being a writer is that it really allows me to tap into more of the creative side of my brain than the logical side. Because as an engineer, I'm always trying to think logic and numbers, and there's you can be creative in engineering, but you
Mhm.
still have to keep yourself in a system. You can't say, all right, we need you to design this building by this many feet tall and this length, and and you decide, I don't want to do it. I want to make it shorter, and I don't want to make the stairs in the building super safe. I want to make them, kind
Yeah.
of raggedy and all that. It's like, no, you can't do that as an engineer.
Okay.
You have to go by the guidelines that have been set and the safety precautions that have been set too.
Got you.
But with
Okay.
writing, I feel like you can be more creative and more open to express yourself how you want to express yourself. Because one of the things Matthew told me was, and this is the advice I give to any person who wants to get in writing. He said, don't consider your reader, consider yourself. And
Mm.
that's not to say I don't consider my reader when I was writing my book, but I feel like the way I interpret his advice was, you need to write what's genuine to you. In other words, it has to be authentic. And that's the
Yes.
advice I give to any person that's trying to write. There's no like strict structure to be a writer. Like you have to do it this, that way, this,
Yeah.
that, and the third, or it has to be written this way. But as long as you are giving your authentic self, and that this is something that people can see this person truly believes in what they're trying to express to their readers, then it's pretty much fair game at that point. As long as you're not trying to finesse your reader by just trying to read any and everything, then then it's cool in my opinion. So as long as you are sticking to your authentic self in your writing, then my expression is to people is, if you write it, they will read it. Similar to if you're an engineer, if you build it, they will come. Well, as a writer,
Hmm.
if you write it, they will read it. So that's kind of like the one nugget I would say as far as the system of writing. But but definitely the main goal I would tell anybody trying to become an author is, hey, be creative, be your real self, and don't get advice from people who like Matthew, who are maybe authors who can help you out, but don't let it hinder your creativity where you lose your authentic self in the process of your writing.
Okay. So when you left your initial meeting or your first meeting with Matthew, did you know what you were going to write on, or did that come later?
It kind of came later because he told me the guidelines of an outline. He said like, hey, make the book about between 10 to 17 chapters.
Okay.
Make bullet points for each chapter.
Okay.
Make like each bullet point can be like a subsection of your chapter. And he said, hey, try to write if you can a chapter or and start maybe into the next chapter a little bit, if you can. But really, past that, it was really up to me just to put the meat of it all together. So the outline kind of came after we met, maybe about a week or so later.
Okay.
And after that, in October of last year, I started writing. And like I said, his guidance made it really easier, especially being a first time author,
Hmm.
to smoothly write my book where it can flow, where it's easily understandable, and I think that really helped out a lot. So my impression of the initial meeting with him was, okay, this doesn't seem like a hard thing to do. Like it's not impossible.
Okay.
Especially if you have, like I said, somebody like him who has had experience writing books, and they can give you some advice of how to go about your
Good
first book.
mentorship. Yeah.
As opposed to trying to go through it, with no guidance or no one to go to for any expertise. To me, that makes it a little bit more harder. Now, some
Hmm.
people, if they have a passion for writing and they just want to do it, it might come easier. But somebody like me who's never written a book or anything of that
Hmm.
nature, then it's better to have someone in your corner who can
Coach you along
guide
the
you.
way.
Yeah, exactly. Put you on your way to getting the best product that you want for your readers.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, let's talk about the book a little bit. What are some of your favorite chapters in the book, or do you have it with us so we can see?
Absolutely. Yes. This is, again, this is for everyone to see. This is my book. It's Your Jewels in Your Journey, Life Lessons Lead to Your Optimal Self. So, yep, there it is. And to answer your question, Lena, there are a couple. I mean, I think I have 10 life lessons or jewels that I give in the book. So I think all of them are really good. But I think the ones that stand out to me definitely is the last one, which is the greatest jewel of all is to know that you are a jewel. Trying to put that self confidence and pretty much that self love in my readers. That, if
Mm-hmm.
you're going to go throughout your journey of finding jewels, you have to understand that you are a jewel yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know that you are a jewel, then the other nine jewels that I give you all fall into place. So that's one. I would say another one that really means a lot to me, I spoke on it a few minutes ago, is don't let others put you in a box. I think that is really a good one because I don't want to see anyone's potential be limited by what other people think or
Mm-hmm.
what they think is best to try to serve other people. You have certain gifts and certain talents that you've been blessed with, and I think you should show the world those talents and gifts. And whatever dreams and goals you have, you should be able to express yourself as such. But also, it's an important jewel for me because, on a personal note, I talk about this in my book, and I don't want to give everything that happened with this particular situation in my book, but I talk about the fact how I was in a box for 10 years because I have experience, unfortunately, of actually growing up in a cult, unfortunately, and knowing how limited, you know, anybody who's ever
Yeah.
been through a cult knows
Yeah.
your life is extremely
Yes.
limited in what you
Yeah.
can and cannot do.
Mm-hmm.
I spent 10 years as a Hebrew Israelite, and I was
Mm-hmm.
6 when my parents and I joined, and I didn't leave out of there till I was 16, going on 17. And the world, you realize the world is really different when you come out of the
Yes.
cult because it's not just the world that you've been preached to for so many years. Like there's
Gotcha.
more to life than that. So I think on a personal note, that's why that jewel is so important to me because anyone who's been through something like that, you realize that's hard.
Yeah.
And like
Yeah.
you said something very important earlier when you started the show about time. Unfortunately, that's time that I can't get back, but it is time that I say that even though I lost, a lot, I can, like I said, inspire people to make the most out of their life because, we only have a certain amount of time we're going to be here. So why spend your time trying to limit your potential and trying to lower your life when
Mm-hmm.
you're meant to have so much more? So
Mm-hmm.
that's one. And I think the last one I would say that means a lot to me is have a great role model. That's my last one. And I talk about the importance of, having, like you said, like with Matthew, someone guide you and how to navigate your journey to be the best it can be. And personally, because I talk about in my book how my father has been my role model, how much he's meant to me as a person, and so yeah, those three jewels I would say particularly would be like my top three uh, favorite ones in the book.
Awesome. Awesome. Not to pry too much, but did the whole family come out or just you by yourself?
No, it was just me and my parents. We've all had left. It's funny. This year actually marked 20 years when we first joined. We joined in on June 21st, 2003, Saturday. I remember it's that date is ingrained forever
Mm,
for me. But my father left in 2012. He saw, and this is going again to talk about what happened with me in high school. He took me out of the church. Thankfully, I thank him that tremendously because it really helped me get my life back on track. Then
gotcha.
my mom eventually came out not too long
Okay.
afterwards in 2013. So
Okay.
I've officially been out of that since for 10 years, but it's been 20 years since we joined. But
Awesome.
thankfully, it was just us, and we've all been able to move on from that and have a pretty good life moving forward.
Awesome. And I truly believe, and this is kind of touching into your book, that I believe everything is a life lesson. So, although that was, as you mentioned, ten years of time that we can't get back, there were so many lessons that you can apply moving forward about how not to get into some sort of toxic and dysfunctional environment sometimes. So, even though we spent 10 years in that, it's still some valuable tools that we can use moving forward. So,
Absolutely.
um, but as we are, we're talking about mentorship. We're talking about, you mentioned your dad was, is a strong role model for you. You're a young man, but you have so much inspiration and motivation to the generation coming behind you. So I want to ask you, if you were sitting in front of some young kids, maybe some elementary school kids, um, what would you tell them about, navigating the roads that they're going to have, high school and college, so that they can become their optimal self? Because even when we're going to make mistakes along the way, and the tendency is to kind of, as we mentioned before, wallow in self-pity and such like that. So, you know, what mentorship and motivation, because you had a strong male model, and you guys are so needed, especially in our community. What would you say to them?
Well, if I had a chance to talk to elementary school kids, I would tell them that, like you said, even though we're going to go through challenges in life and there's going to be tough times, like you said, definitely learn the lessons of life. But especially since they're kids, enjoy every moment that you have. Especially because I'm talking to elementary school kids, you're only going to be a child once. There's only a certain amount of time you have to be a kid. So definitely make the most and enjoy that opportunity. Definitely have fun, make a lot of friends. Of course, listen to your parents and your adult figures who are here to help you. But definitely, enjoy that and embrace that moment of life. And then I would also tell them that, you know, whatever dreams or goals that you have, like I said earlier, don't let people crush those dreams. There's nothing wrong with having a dream or a goal. As long as you're willing to put the work in and make it happen, I think there's a possibility you can achieve it. And always strive to do that. And I think the last thing I would tell them is, always continue to be the best that you can be. Don't let anyone stop you from doing that. And I talked about in the last one of the chapters of my book is focusing on the journey as opposed to the destination. So going back to what I said earlier about enjoying the moment of childhood, but even as you get older into your teenage years and into your adulthood and further on down the line, enjoy every moment of the journey that's worthwhile. Whether it's your dream is you want to be a teacher, you want to go to college to educate people and do that, enjoy that. Or if you want to, for example, you want to go and be a musician, whatever goal and dream that you have, enjoy that. And every small victory that you have in life, celebrate that, enjoy it, and just know that, hey, you're meant to be here for a purpose. You have a lot of potential. Don't let anyone stop you from achieving that. And like I said earlier, since you're elementary school kids, definitely, hey, enjoy your youth, have a lot of fun, be smart. Like you said, you're gonna make mistakes, but listen to your elders because they can give you some guidance. Because as the African proverb says, the youth can walk faster, but the elder knows the road. So
True.
you understand you're going to be excited to do a lot of fun stuff and things of that nature. And you might make some mistakes, but hey, I can't say I'm an elder because I'll be 27 in a couple weeks, so I can't put that title on me yet. But as people of the older generation are here to help you out to achieve what you're meant to achieve, then listen to them. But hey, enjoy every moment, have a lot of fun, and know that hey, when you achieve what you want to achieve, you're gonna look back and say it was worth the journey.
Okay. So what's next for the engineer slash author? More books, or will we be, I don't know where you are in your career. Are you going to own your own firm, or, what should we be looking for in the future from you?
Well, to answer your question, I am, I have had some thoughts about writing another book. I haven't started one yet because I'm still, trying to, promote your jewels in your journey right now. But I do want to write another book. There's a situation I'm kind of going through now that kind of is inspiring me to write another book. I'm not going to give the details on that just yet, but I definitely want to continue writing when I can. It's just for me is that it has to be, like I said earlier, genuine to me. I don't want to write just to try to write and put something out there. I want it to be the best product that I can and know that it can inspire people. And I want to do that by giving my authentic self. So
Okay.
I think I'm always going to be open to writing. It's just pretty much when my spirit says it's the time to do it,
Got you.
then I
Okay.
want to do it. So I don't want to just, like I said,
Put something out there.
put out books. I want it to be as real and authentic as I can. So that's one thing. What's also next for me is my godfather and I, we are working on, actually not working on it, we actually have it set up. So we're actually going to have a holiday launch party on December the 2nd. at the Bus Boys and Ports in Columbia, Maryland.
Okay.
It's open to the public, so Lena, if you want to come out, or anyone else by all means, we'd love to have you. Pretty much this event is going to be about not only my book, but it's also launching my motivational speaking services too. So people who are interested about that, they can come out and learn that. They can also get their copies of their book when they come out to the event. You can ask me questions, and it's a great opportunity to also network with other people who maybe want to get into being an author, or any other career business that people have.
Awesome.
And we're also trying to look for vendors as well. So if any vendors are out there, if you want to come on out and support that, I'll definitely be providing that information. So those are pretty much the two things that I have going for me right now. I do have one motivational speaking event that I'll be doing in January with a person I'm actually going to be interviewing tomorrow. I met him at an event called SpeakerCon in
Okay.
Arlington, Virginia, yesterday and Friday. So that's coming up for me as well. So that's pretty much the gist for me right now. Potentially writing another book, my holiday launch party in December, and then of
Awesome.
course my speaking event or speaking engagement rather in January.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. And I would so love to see you, as I mentioned in the elementary school setting, um, to speak in some schools, especially to our kids, because it's not often they get to see a black male engineer in front of them to give them like, you can too be this, they see other role models and other examples. So I would love to see you speaking in some schools. I'm just putting that out there in the atmosphere. So
I appreciate that, and I would love to do that because, to that point, one of the things I say in my book is really about how our children need role models. So,
Mhm.
definitely, anytime that we can help our youth to be the best they can be, the next generation, then it's something that we shouldn't take for granted. So,
Okay.
it's an honor to do that, and if I ever get that opportunity, I would want to say thank you for putting that out there. But also definitely I would love to do that, because one of the things I did was, be a tutor when I was in undergrad and grad school, because I just
Okay.
knew how my journey was tough. So,
Okay.
like I said, my philosophy is, and I talk about this in my book as well, always trying to give back and help others. So, when we achieve success, we have to always think about,
Yes.
like you said earlier, that generation that's coming behind us. So,
Yes.
yeah, any opportunity that we can help our kids and our youth, then that's something we truly need to take advantage of that opportunity.
Awesome. I love it. Now, before I ask you my random question, we were talking about lifting up the generation coming behind you. Let me quickly ask about the generation that came before you. How does mom and dad adjust to their son being an author? I know they were excited about him being an engineer, but how are they adjusting to him being an author?
They are really happy for me. It's definitely been an honor. In fact, it's also funny. Because of meeting Matthew, my mom also wrote a book as well. She wrote a poetry
Okay.
book. Her book is called The Gift of Poetry. So Matthew helped both of us. He's helped us have book signings and interviews like this. So
Family
he's played a
affair.
tremendous role. Because I remember last October, my mother asked me for his information, and I gave it to him, and they met. And her book came out in March of this year, and then mine came out in May. So
Awesome.
I would definitely say she's adjusted to me being an author quite well, because there's some benefits that she's gotten on her end as well. But my dad has been very proud of me too. I
Awesome.
definitely appreciate his support. He's definitely said, hey, you should definitely, send your book to this person. And it's like, so, okay. So I
Great.
definitely appreciate that. He helped me. We went to an event in June down in Atlanta for Juneteenth weekend. And
Awesome.
it was with the Black Achievement Fund. And that's who I did an interview with before. And I think we bought like 15 copies of my book, and two of them were gifts. And then the other 13 we sold to the members of the BAF. So
Great.
he's been a tremendous role. He's been to a few book signs for me as well. And I think my dad really has really changed the corner, because I remember in high school, my writing was not the best. He, being the brutally honest person that my dad was, he literally looked in my face and just said, Elijah, your writing sucks. I was like, so this
Brutal
is why I
dad.
said to myself, like, so this is why I don't come to you to proofread stuff. Like, I'm just like, okay, you know what? This is why I
Brutal.
go to Mother to try to proofread
The
stuff. I mean, she's an
nurturing
educator too.
side, right?
She's an educator too. Like, what? It's like, why do I go to you? Why do I go to you to proofread my work? Like, but in a way, hey, the truth hurts, but it can help. So
Yeah.
I can say thankfully I've gotten so much better at my writing. Where thankfully he does not say my writing sucks anymore. So
Awesome.
thank you, Dad. I appreciate that. There's no longer saying that. I love you. Thank you.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Awesome. And the family support and everything. I just love it. So it's wonderful. Let me ask my random question. And then I'm gonna ask you to tell us how we connect with you, pick up the book and all of that stuff. So let's see what we've got here. If you could have an all expenses paid trip, where would you go?
Oh, all expenses paid trip. You know what? I would love to go to any part of Africa, but I would especially love to go to Egypt. I think there's just so much history that's happened in Egypt since the beginning of civilization, and
Yes.
I would love to learn more about our history dating back to the beginning of time. That's something that we're not really taught about.
Yeah.
We're always taught about what happened to us from slavery moving forward. So
Mhm.
to learn about us when we were really in our greatness at the time, I think that
Yes.
would be a tremendous honor. And I've seen the images of Egypt, the pyramids and the Sphinx and all the great historical monuments that our ancestors left behind. So if I could definitely go to an all paid expenses trip to Egypt, I would definitely take that trip.
Awesome. Especially as an engineer, I think that would be like a mind explosion for you to go and see the pyramids and kind of conceptualize like how did all of this come together and all of that stuff. So
Absolutely.
I think that would be so we're gonna put that in the atmosphere too for you as well. So we got to sell some
I
books so
appreciate that.
we could sell some books and make that happen. So
Hey, there we go. That's part of motivation to sell some books. I need to sell a lot of books so I can
so
go on my trip to Egypt.
Egypt, there we go. Well, so
But as
tell
a disclaimer, that's not the only reason I'm doing it. But
it would
hey,
be a nice, it would be a
it would
nice
be a nice,
addition.
it would be a very nice honor if people who supported me could make that happen. Hey, I wouldn't complain. But
Thank you.
hey, we'll see what happens though.
Let's see. Well, so tell us how we connect with you and how we pick up the book.
Oh, absolutely. So again, this is my book, Your Jewels Are in Your Journey, Life Lessons Lead to Your Optimal Self. You can get it at my website. It is www.yourjewelsarinyourjourney.com. Also, in regards to my event at Busboys and Poets on December the 2nd from 8 to 10 p.m., Matthew is working on getting that on my website. So
Okay.
pretty soon that will be posted on the website and you can go there. You can order your tickets. You can either be a vendor, you can be there just to attend, or it can even be a sponsor as well. If you'd like to sponsor your business, we would love to have that as well. So be on the lookout for that. It is on Eventbrite. So
Oh, okay.
if you
Okay.
Google holiday launch party, Your Jewels in Your Journey featuring Elijah, sorry, if you Google holiday launch party featuring Elijah Lewis, it should pop up on Eventbrite. So what I can do is I can provide that to you, Lana, if you want to. I
Okay.
can put that in the chat.
Okay.
And we can definitely, in fact, I can send that to your email if you want to put that in the description of the video.
Okay.
That way the audience knows about that as well. Again, please come on out. We would love to have you. And also, if you want to stay connected with me, you can always follow me on Instagram at Melanin King Eli. That's my Instagram. I post a lot of events that I'm doing. Anything that's going on with my book, you can follow me there. So definitely love to stay connected with everybody. And again, thank you for all the support. It means a lot.
Awesome. I love it. I love it. Just to hear um, your perspective on life as a young person, me being a little bit more seasoned than you. It's just very refreshing to hear, such positivity come out of a younger person. So I applaud you on everything that you're doing, how you're giving your energy and your information, your knowledge to the world, especially to the younger and older generation. We all need it. And I wish you nothing but success. I put a lot of gems out there in the universe, in the atmosphere. So I'm just hoping the best for you, wishing the best for you. I know the best will come to you because you're just doing
Well,
some
thank you
awesome
so
work.
much, Lynn. I truly do appreciate that. So thank you so much. And again, it was just an honor to be on the show and tell everyone about my journey and my book. So again, thank you for the opportunity. That definitely means a lot. And thank you for the kind words as well.
That is all for this week's episode of The Male Perspective. I'm your host, Lana Reid, and I will see everybody next time.